Queen here, and we're going to be talking about how to store mylar for beginners. I hear over and over and over that you don't know where you're going to store stuff. Now I've mylar'd the stuff, but where am I going to put it? Well, I'm going to talk to you guys about where you're going to put it and give you some options, whether we go into buckets or we go into bins. I'm going to give you what options may or may not fit your family the best, the pros, the cons. Some get heavy, some don't. How much food that they can actually hold, and we're going to take a look into it. So make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications, because we're going to talk about all the things mylar, because there is a lot out right here. So when you are looking at buckets, let's talk about it. You have your 5-gallon buckets. You're going to want a food grade bucket to store your food in. But let's really look at how much food can be stored in one of these buckets. Here I have a variety of 1-gallon size and quart size mylar bags. And you can go out and you can purchase 5-gallon mylar. I've done this before, but I do prep for 7 people. So for me, I like to go to the bin system, even though the bins do get very heavy and it's kind of hard to figure out where I'm going to put them, but we do have a ton of buckets in use. Now, if I was going to use one of my 5-gallon mylars, I'm just going to dump the food in, add my oxygen absorbers, for instance, for my flour and my rice. I'm going to seal it, and then I'm going to seal the lid on top. But say you don't have that. Let's talk about, a lot of people go to the 1-gallon size bags. I'm going to show you guys how many I can fit comfortably inside of this 5-gallon tote. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3. Now we're starting to get a little jammed up. Let's say, what, 4? And I might be able to get a quart put into here. That is looking pretty full right there. And it's just not as efficient as I like with my totes. So what I'm going to show you is the option that I personally do. Now, do we have a lot of buckets? Yes. I'm going to take you over. I'm going to go show you how much can actually fit in my 6-gallon bucket that is filled with wheat berries, and break down the amount of food that is going to be stored in that. This is one of my favorite ways to store food. This is a 6-gallon bucket filled with 45 pounds of wheat berries. 45 pounds of wheat berries is equivalent to 150 cups of flour. How many cups of flour does it take to make bread? About 6 cups of flour. So 150 cups of flour from 45 pounds of wheat berries is equivalent to 25 loaves of bread. 150 cups of flour could equal hundreds to thousands of noodles when you make your own homemade pasta. One of the positives that come with having buckets is you can fit buckets in a small space, such as a space like that, and stack them on top of each other. The more you can fit and make sure that it's stable, the better it is. One of my other favorite ways to store food is in a 27-gallon tote. I get these at Costco all the time. They're easy to stack and you can fit them in shelving units. What is special about my channel is on TikTok, I teach people how to start prepping from the ground all the way up and creating 0 food storage to a massive amount of food storage. So right here we see a 27-gallon tote completely empty. And as we start to grow our food storage, once one bin is filled up, it gets moved to the rest of our food storage and we continue to grow together. So for all of you that are new and at the very beginning stages of prepping, don't get discouraged when you see an empty bucket. Everyone starts somewhere. So inside this bucket in here, I have about 4-gallon size bags of rice and 4 quart size equaling 1 more gallon. So 5 gallons of rice. We remember how much was on the table when we first started this. I'm going to show you how much can fit inside of a tote. Even though the totes can get very heavy, I like to store them and stack them on top of each other. This bin will be rice and beans. So as I start adding them in, I'm just going to layer them in. The pros and cons of this method is this bin is going to be extremely heavy. It's going to weigh well over 50 pounds. Once I finish filling up a tote, I add the lid, I label it, and it gets moved into where the best food storage is. Right there you can see I have a label on my lid. It says food mylar, and then I'm going to specify that in there is rice and beans. One part about my food storage is I'm always encouraging people to grow and preserve their own food, whether you are buying canned goods from the store or if you like to can and grow your own food like I do. Growing food is very important for food preservation, especially in prepping. Whether you have all the freeze-dried foods or if you can your own food, prepping food that you and your family will eat. Don't store up on stuff that they would never touch. It's not worth your time or your money. So whether you are choosing to store your food by buckets, some have spin top lids, some you have the ones that pop on, you use a mallet to seal them. I like the spin tops. They don't stack as good, but they do stack pretty well. As you choose which one you want to go to, or if you want to do bin systems like I do, they do get heavy. There's the pros and cons. So please comment down below on what you prefer, but let's go over what's inside this bin. This bin's about to get moved out of the prepping room and off to more food storage. We have over 70 acres of a homestead that we are starting with. We just put out some shipping containers out there. But let's talk about what's inside of here. As you start feeling more comfortable with mylaring rice, sugar, flour, all of the things, beans, you name it, you're going to want to start dabbling into other stuff. So I do have a freeze dryer. I do run my freeze dryer all the time. And then I also have freeze-dried food in here that I just didn't have time to run with. So I like to use the company called Dry Wholesalers. I think their food is top quality. It is at the very top compared to most of those buckets. Yes, I said it. Buckets do hit a certain financial standpoint. There is no shame in them, but they are also very heavy carbohydrates. If you are new here or seen it before, I have been criticized for having a lot of food buckets, and I took that advice to myself and said, you know what? They're probably right. They're probably not the most healthy thing out there. And so I started educating myself and exploring more options with higher protein, better food, and freeze-dry wholesalers. They're definitely the top tier of the top tier. But I also have my own freeze dryer, and I like to run my own MRE mills in here. In this MRE mill, it is rice and beans. They're freeze-dried. They're highly seasoned. I ran them through the freeze dryer, and then I put them in individual MRE style bags, along with, over here we have spaghetti. They're excellent to have on the go, especially when I'm hiking or just out on the property. Currently our property is 100% off grid. There is no electrical, there is no water, there is no sewer. We just got a septic system installed out there, and we are working on drilling a well and doing all the solar panel things. But inside of this, we have so much food that you're just kind of squeezing it in. Here I have my own freeze-dried eggs from my chickens. These are going to come in handy because we are heading straight into a food shortage. But this bin has gotten filled. These other two bins underneath it have gotten filled. So they are going to head out to the property, and then we will start on new empty bins in here. So please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, because as we are prepping each and every individual bin, you get to see the growth in it. It encourages you. It's helping teach you how to prep and how fast and quickly your food preservation, your food storage, your preps, they're going to continue to grow. Everybody has to start somewhere. Not everybody is going to have an entire system like this day one. This has taken years. It takes me an entire season to grow food and can it and preserve it and harvest it the correct way. So you can do it too. It just takes time and dedication. So make sure you like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next video.